At the resumed sitting, Mr. Agabi clarified the post made by Aloy Ejimako. Mr. Agabi noted that the post made by a member of his team was misleading. Mr. Agabi admitted to having arrived at the DSS facility alone, but was informed that the names of expected visitors had not arrived. He insisted he was not stopped and was not angry because he had other engagements with the golf club. Justice Omotosho asked Aloy Ejimako, who made the post, to respond. Mr. Ejimako said his understanding of the problem was that the Linet Sikh was denied access. The court was not pleased with the action of Mr. Ejimako, who, without confirmation, made such publication. Justice Omotosho urged him to refrain from such actions and also posting a court document online as a legal practitioner. Before the commencement of the cross-examination, the prosecution, through its second witness, tendered the death certificate of Hamid Golak. Mr. Golak was a special advisor on political affairs to former President Goodluck Jonathan. He was allegedly killed by suspected IPOB members. The death certificate was admitted in evidence by the court. During cross-examination, Mr. Agabi challenged the credibility and completeness of the video statement obtained by Kanu during DSS custody, stating that only the defendant and his team were visible in the footage. The witness responded that it is the procedure, affirming it was a full recording. When pressed further, he could not recall whether he wore a mask during the interview. Mr. Agabi raised concerns over Kanu's prolonged detention and alleged solitary confinement. The witness, however, mentioned that he was merely an investigator and not responsible for Kanu's custody or welfare, saying solitary confinement is not a practice of the DSS. The defense further questioned the legality of the prolonged detention, claiming it constituted cruel and inhumane treatment, but the witness insisted he was unaware of Kanu's psychological state and said it was not part of his investigative duty. Counsel for the defendant informed the court that he was yet to receive documents he had applied for to get from the police to help their case. Agabi further sought an adjournment, which was objected to by the prosecution, citing orders of the court on accelerated hearing of the case. The court adjourned to 21st May for continuation of hearing.
All right, before we go into today's news, into today's court trial of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, which is actually going on currently, we'll be giving you more news and information on the court trial as we'll be dropping videos, because the cross-examination is going to continue today. But the indigenous people of Biafra has actually made a very critical point, in this whole trial. Now, the news platform actually highlighted a news that the IPOB, a comment made by the IPOB Media and Publicity Secretary, Emma Powerful. They said, no evidence, no case, only lies and diversion in Nnamdi Kanu's trial. This is actually true. For the past 5 years, the zoo have actually been circumlocuting around, the issue of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. No evidence. Now just explanation. In fact, they're not even they explain anything. You will explain, tire, no evidence. Both explanation, no, both evidence, they no get against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. They just keep on running around the circuit in that case and keep on delaying the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in order to continue to pen him and hold him, in DSS custody, so that he will not continue what he is destined to do, and that is bringing Biafra, to Biafrans as quickly as possible. Now, the news in detail said the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, categorically condemns the latest desperate attempt by the federal government and its compromised media to divert public attention from the disgraceful collapse of their case against our leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, rather than report on the embarrassing cross-examination of their confused witness, known as PWBBB, who admitted under oath that no investigation report exists to support the politically motivated charges. The media is awash with irrelevant stories about the tendering of a death certificate. That is Ahmed Gulag. I actually clarified this in one of the video I made, and I will be doing more on the next video I'll be dropping on other channels. Let us continue with the news. Let it be known that the so-called death certificate of Ahmad Gulag, former aide to the ex-president Jonathan, has no evidentiary value whatsoever in the context of the ongoing trial. The federal government prosecuting counsel Awomolo San, acting with shocking dishonesty, attempted to reintroduce evidence after closing his examination in chief, an unethical and unacceptable legal maneuver designed only to mask the shame of a failed prosecution. It is important to set the record straight. The sit-at-home observance declared by IPOB for the manual 30th May Remembrance Day in 2021 was held on Monday, 31st May 2021, not Sunday, the 30th. Gulag was murdered on Sunday, a full day before the observance. This timeline alone dismantles the fabricated claim that the IPOB had any involvement in his death. The attempt to retrofit this tragic event into their crumbling narrative is not just deceitful, it is criminal. First of all, that is even another part that I haven't even looked into. Ahmed Gulag, was actually died in Owerri, like we all know. And before then, it was died on 2021. And according to the narrative and the agenda that Awomolo, the federal government council, is trying to push, is that the Remembrance Day, which was actually a sit-at-home, which was meant to be on a Monday, was what resulted to the buying of Gulag. But the fact still remains that Gulag actually was pied on Sunday. I remember fully. Gulag was pied on Sunday, a day before the sit-at-home. So, like I said earlier, I'm actually waiting to see what the court will say concerning this whole issue of Ahmed Gulag. And after this news, I'll be dropping, the full gist of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's interview concerning that. He dropped a broadcast immediately after Ahmed Gulag's buying, where he clarified that IPOB cannot be involved in Ahmed Gulag's death. First of all, he has no business with Ahmed Gulag. He also went further to clarify why will the IPOB want to buy Ahmed Gulag. And also, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, in his fearless state, went further to mention those who are responsible for the buying of Ahmed Gulag. But let us round up with this news, before we go into the full details of what is happening in the court currently on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's continuous trial. We continue. We remind the world that this is not the first time the Nigerian state has weaponized misinformation and historical revisionism to justify ethnic persecution, just as the 1966 coup was falsely labeled an Igbo coup to ignite the genocidal war against our people. They now seek to frame IPOB for every act of state-engineered violence in the southeast, like we all know. We call on all responsible media outlets to return to the core principles of journalism, truth, accuracy, and objectivity, and demand the full transcript of court proceedings before parroting government propaganda. The world is watching. Nnamdi Kanu remains a prisoner of conscience, unlawfully detained in violation of local and international law. No amount of lies, no amount of death certificate or courtroom gimmicks will stop the truth. We demand his immediate and unconditional release. Now, we continue to demand for the immediate release of Nnamdi Kanu, because as we all know, he has been held illegally. Everything that surrounds Nnamdi Kanu's case from the onset is actually illegal, because you won't tell me that a man who was actually kidnapped, abducted in broad daylight and renditioned back, if they bundled him back, the truth is now coming out on how he was tortured and all that in court. And we're going to get more court details today, as the case continue to tear open. So I urge you to stay tuned on this wonderful channel to get all the updated news and information on Nnamdi Kanu's court hearing, as we continue to give you. Thank you, and share this video.